Well, the latest jobs report is showing a resilient labor market in the face of the continued fight against inflation.
The Labor Department says the U.S. added 187,000 jobs in July. While that's slightly lower than expected, it's still up from the previous month. The unemployment rate fell to 3.5%, and that's approaching a 50-year low.
And President Biden is touting the report as a result of his economic agenda. He says, quote, "We're growing the economy from the middle out and bottom up, lowering costs for hardworking families and making smart investments in America." Daniel Zhao joins us now in Studio 57. He's the lead economist at Glassdoor. First off, Daniel, thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with us. What do these numbers tell you about the job market?
Well, I think what it shows is that we are on a slow but steady path towards that soft landing. We are seeing the job market decelerate, but in a controlled manner where things are slowing down, but they're not slowing down too harshly.
Well, we have seen the Fed raise interest rates 11 times over the last year and a half. There were predictions that we were going to have a recession, that the Fed waited too long. More and more, we are hearing we're not going to have a recession. We're going to have this soft landing. We're hearing it, even the optimism coming from the Fed. Talk to us about the labor market and how they've been able, surprisingly, to really buck conventional wisdom when it comes to the economic situation that we've been in.
Well, really, the key to getting us towards this soft landing is getting inflation under control without disrupting the labor market. And that is, in fact, what we've seen. Some of that is because of the decline in inflation is coming from factors outside the labor market, with food and energy prices slowing down in terms of their pace of growth. But on top of that, actually, one of the big factors behind why the labor market has remained strong is that we've actually seen an increase in labor force participation as more Americans are entering the workforce and enabling sustainable jobs growth without necessarily adding to inflationary pressures.
Has that in part been because more and more people have been able to be flexible, working from home, working, partially hybrid?
It's a mix of different factors. So absolutely the accessibility of flexible work arrangements, whether that's flexibility in scheduling or flexibility in work location, that has definitely had an impact. We've also seen a rebound in immigration, especially over the last year, which has helped add workers to the American workforce. And on top of that, we also have some Americans who are near retirement when COVID started and are now coming back into the workforce in greater numbers.
I want to ask, we heard a lot this week about Fitch recently downgrading the U.S. credit. And when you talk to a lot of Americans, they don't really feel as necessarily optimistic, or they don't necessarily see that soft landing we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Why have opinions about the economy been so mixed?
Well, I think for Americans, really, they see inflation at the pump, they see it at the grocery store, and that's a very tangible feeling, whereas them not losing their jobs is not really something that you can hang your economic hat on. So I do think that inflation is a lot more tangible to the American consumer, the American household right now. But hopefully, as inflation comes down and wage growth remains steady, we should start to see American households feel that extra money in their pocket and hopefully see that consumer sentiment start to turn around.
Daniel Zhao, thanks so much for breaking down the numbers for us.
Thanks.